Hello and welcome back to yet another Crypto Empire live stream. My name is Connor, and this is where we dominate the crypto market. We do have a lot to discuss today in this live stream because Bitcoin and the entire crypto market actually went ahead and crashed overnight during the Asia trading session, and now we are left to pick up the pieces in the aftermath and try to determine what does happen next from here. I will be giving you my own personal speculation in the charts for the price action on what I do expect to happen next, as well as a plethora of other very, very important information that you absolutely need to know. So be sure to stick with me throughout the entire length of this live stream. If you're just getting in right now, welcome to the stream. Be sure to hit that like button down below. If you are brand new to Crypto Empire as well, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all the notifications so that you don't miss any future videos. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the data and get right down to business, because we actually don't have much time to waste this morning with the amount of content that I plan on covering during this live stream. So looking at the live chat, first of all, welcome everybody. We have Dre with us saying welcome to Crypto Empire. Big shout out to Dre. We have Juno Junkie giving the little wave. What's going on, Juno Junkie? We have Dalton Moore saying, what's up, Connor, my guy? Let's get it. Absolutely, let's get it, Dalton. We have Ian M saying hello. Market is getting spicy. Spicy is a good word to describe the current state of the market. I like that adjective, spicy there. Shout out to Ian M. We had GHX7 with some flames. GT Nuts saying hi, bud. And Raphael saying live and alive. Hello there. What's going on, Raphael? Hit that like button. You already know. Hamza saying, broski, you're the man. Big shout out to Hamza. Appreciate your support, my friend. We got Randy FPV. We got Glasshopper77. Morning, Connor. Good morning, Empire. I'm ready for the challenge. Absolutely, Glasshopper. I am pumped for the trading challenge as well. Without further ado, let's take a look at the crypto market and see the current prices at the current moment in time. So Bitcoin trading for $19,164. Ethereum trading for $1,035. All right, so ETH went just below 1K yet again. We saw three-digit ETH, and I don't think that's the bottom, right? I think we are headed much lower over the coming next few months, just as I have been saying, right? So be patient, but we could possibly be expecting a bounce here. I'll be getting into that and my reasoning on why I do believe we could be expecting a larger corrective bounce to the upside. But looking at the overall top 10, everything is red today. We are seeing a slight recovery in the charts right now. Taking a look at today's top gainers, we have AMP up 45%, going vertical, while the rest of the market is selling off. So interesting to see here what's happening with AMP. Definitely is raising a few eyebrows right now, being that it's up 45% on a day where really the entire market went ahead and sold off. We have Shiba Inu up 5.9%, and other than that, not a lot of gainers at all today. Everything is actually red. Taking a look at today's top losers, we have Terra Classic down 33% on the day, still up 500% on the week. Right, this was a stable coin, supposed to be pegged to $1, now at 4.9 cents. It has become a bit of a meme coin, and the meme coin investors absolutely love it. If you go ahead and search Terra Luna Classic on YouTube, you will find a plethora of videos uploaded within the past few hours, all talking about Terra Luna Classic, because the meme coiners absolutely eat it up. So big shout out to them. Congratulations if you've been making money on Terra Luna Classic. That's how you do it. Good for you. Now, Synthetics is also down 13.8%. Zcash down 9%. And a lot of stuff is red single digits today, right? A lot of blood in the streets. A lot of capitulation happening right now in the crypto market. A lot of holders are giving up. And let's hop into the charts and go over that data, and so I can better explain what's going on with the Bitcoin price. So let's start things off looking at a clean chart. We'll go ahead and look at the BLX, right? And for the BLX, we will look at a weekly price chart. Okay, so looking at where we are in the grand scheme of things here on the weekly chart, you can see we are in my demand zone going all the way back to the 2017 peak of the market over here at around $19,750, right? This green shaded box is our demand zone. More recently over here on the rise up in 2020, we did form a rally-based rally demand level over here, right? And this goes from 20K down to about 16K. Nice $4,000 demand zone, right? Quite wide, but it does encompass a key level on the price chart. So price went ahead and wicked very deep into this level and has now been bouncing just above it. Ultimately, I do think we will go ahead and make lower lows here. The bottom is not in for crypto. With everything going on in the world, if you're calling a bottom for crypto, you are well too early right now. But the thing is, a lot of people, a lot of Bitcoin investors, people that were head over heels for Bitcoin, when price was up here from 50K up to, the all-time high at 68,900 on this chart, a lot of people were buying their Bitcoin and their altcoins up here. And what's happened now more recently, right, we'll be getting into the local price action in just a minute, but this is very important. What's happening more recently is people are capitulating. They are giving up. They are throwing in the towel altogether right now. They are realizing their losses. Now, my channel is not financial advice. I do this for educational purposes only, as well as entertainment purposes, but mostly educational purposes. The thing is, if you sell now when you're already down 70%, really, you're better off holding. Seriously. You're better off holding and just lowering your cost. If you're already down 70% and you go to realize the loss, the large bulk of the move down is already done. We're closer to the bottom now, right? We're pretty close to the bottom here, right? We can still go down, another 30, 40, maybe even 50% from here. If we get down to 12K, that's another 30, 40% drop. If we go to 10, we're looking at a 50% drop from the current price. It is still possible, right? But it's not the same as going from 60K down to 20K if we go from 20K to 10K. So the worst is most likely in. Understand that, but we still have lower to go. And on a day like today, more people panic sell when they see price drop below 20K again. They're like, oh, I thought 20K was the all-time high from 2017, so I thought it would never go beneath there, and it's going beneath there again, so I need to sell and get out of this. I just don't want any part of crypto anymore. This is the general retail speculator's mindset who is buying up here at 50 to 60K, and that's the totally wrong approach, because now we are closer to the bottom than we are to the top. Up here is when you should have been selling. Now it's simply, in my opinion, too late to be selling any of your Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. strong altcoins. It is simply the time to just nibble, right? You don't want to throw in your whole stack. I've explained this before in my other streams. If you have say you have $100,000 that you want to invest into the cryptocurrency market over this bear market. At this point in time, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have 25 to 30% of your capital already deployed, buying down here at 20K, ETH at $900, $800, right? If you want to deploy your capital in chunks. You want to take nibbles at the market. And then when we do get our big flush lower, which I do think is happening, we will see a big lower leg, right? Don't know where the exact bottom will be. Good chance it could be down here from 12 to 10K. That's when you really want to go heavy, okay? Over here, it's a totally different circumstance that we had in March of 2020. This was totally different. Totally different circumstances, totally different macroeconomic environment. You cannot compare this 2008 or 2020 March 2020 crash to the current market collapse that we are having. Here, to me, this was an obvious buy. I bought Bitcoin in this low wick down on the exact day that it did crash back in March 2020. It just seemed like a very obvious buy at that time, and it turned out to be the generational buying opportunity of a lifetime because we went on a serious bull run after that. Now we are in a totally different set of macroeconomic circumstances. You cannot compare the two. They do not line up in either way, shape, or form. Any previous bear market for that matter, okay? So you can't really rely on the previous metrics that we do use, but understand we most likely do have lower to go. So that's our macro. Now let's get to the local price action and go over what has happened in the past 24 hours since we were last here live on YouTube. Before we do go ahead and look at this, we have David W. saying, good morning. What up, Doe? What's happening, David W.? We got Daria saying, hello, Connor. What's happening, Daria? The Anti-Corporation saying, hey, Connor, much love, respect, and gratitude as always. Big shout out to the Anti-Corporation. Randy saying, everyone smash up that like button. G-Mad, Connor, why are you always in a suit? Chill, bro. It's just what I do, man. It's what I've been wearing every day now for like the past 2 years straight. Okay, so not going to take the suit off. And G-Mad, what happened to TCL? Did he scam you? No, Francis did not scam me or anybody. He's still around. You can message him on Telegram. He'll get back to you. He's around. But no, he's not a scammer. He wouldn't do that. Let's see. Rigoberto saying, good day, everyone. What's happening, Rigo? G-Mads, can I list some interesting coins to look up? Certainly. We'll do a Q&A at the end of the stream. For now, I do have a lot of content I do want to cover. Randy saying he's buying on every dip. He's not going all in yet. He's keeping some dry powder on the side. And we do have Trucker Steve with us saying, Trucker Steve is checking in. Good day to all. I'll catch replay. Crashing out. 8 hours till next 14-hour shift. Prices are looking juicy. Big shout out to Trucker Steve with us in every single live stream. Always tuning in from the road. Big shout out to all the Crypto Empire legends out there. Appreciate all of your support. All right, so looking at Bitcoin now, this was our 20K support. Our exact level I had on my chart was $19,850, just here. And as you can see, after a nice long consolidation of really about a full day, up here at the 20K level, wicking up and down, was a full day up here. We have now just fell through the bottom. Notice, though, looking at our volume profile on this 4-hour chart, how pathetic the selling volume actually is, right? Super low selling volume. I mean, with a move of this velocity, you would expect a higher amount of selling volume to take place here, right? Something like we have over here on the left side of the chart, right? This is decent selling volume. What we have here is very small, low selling volume. So really just prices being pushed down with derivatives, and the thing is, there's just no demand. There's no buy-side demand. I've been talking about this for months and months and months on end. I do sound like a broken record at this point. But when there's no demand in the market, when there's no bidders, it's very easy to, just keep on seeing the price drop. There needs to be demand. All price is doing when it drops is it's seeking out where buyers are, all right? Looking for a level where buyers are going to go ahead and step in. That is basic supply and demand there. Everybody should already know this stuff, especially if you've watched my videos on supply and demand. So now price obviously went ahead and found some buyers right here in my outline demand level from $19,000 down to $18,750, right? This level has been outlined on my chart now for weeks, and lo and behold, demand zone went ahead and played out yet again, okay? So now I do have a fib as well on the chart, and we have our 78.6 down here at 18,500, right? 18,485. I was looking for a scalp long if we did get there, but we actually went ahead and turned around before in the demand level. Okay, so that's really off the table right now. And then the 88.6 is down here at $18,051 in this interesting doji candle formation over here on the 4-hour chart, also right at these candle body closes and opens. All right, so this 88.6 looks like a juicy level for a scalp long if we do see a further crash there today. Now jumping into the 1-hour chart, do not mistake it, I do think we will have a type of recovery rally. However, we are in resistance right here. Okay, what do we have? We have a drop, base drop, supply zone, and taking this from wick to wick, as you can see, price is respecting this level here very well so far today, and this is resistance. All right, so understand, if you're taking your longs here, it could pop above resistance, but you are longing resistance. Okay, let's be aware of that. And like I said, we do have our 78.6 and some other key levels down here at around 18,500. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another sweep of the lows here on the short term time frame. See a sweep of the lows before a bit of a sustained rally up, because this market is due for a correction to the upside. Again, if we go back to a higher time frame chart, looking at the daily here, just look at the velocity of this sell-off, and there has been no bounces, only consolidations to the upside, right? Just brutal sell-offs, right? It's like a waterfall cascade down and doesn't end, and no corrections to the upside. It's really been down. So now we're at some, very strong multi-year support levels, so we would expect a bit of a correction to the upside here. At least I am, okay? And I'm not asking for anything crazy here with this correction to the upside. Down here at 18K, sub 19K, if we even do get back up to 22, 23, that would be a nice correction to the upside from this point. If we were still up here at 20K, then yes, I could see us going to around 25 or 27. But down here at 17, 18, even just getting back up to 22, 23, if we take a percentage gain on that, we're looking at around an 18, 20% correction from the current prices. Still very low, not really too much of a correction to the upside, which is why we still can go higher to around 25. But, this market is due. And if you notice what we have here on the daily chart, this is shaping up to possibly be a double bottom. We'll see about that, right, where we have our first bottom here. Then we're going to go ahead and form our second one. And again, all I did before was pull that fib from the swing high down to the swing low. And we do have our 88.6 at 18,000, approximately $50, and our 78.6 at around 18,500. So these are strong levels that I would look for some type of double bottom formation to play out here in the charts. All right, but of course we need to let price action go ahead and confirm this, and it's still just super volatile. There's no bidders, and the news is most certainly having an effect on the market. More rumors of, companies going completely insolvent. Sam Bankman-Fried saying that there's a lot of crypto exchanges that are pretending their situation is better than it is, that they're already insolvent. They can go down at any moment. He didn't name any exchanges, but he hinted that a lot of smaller crypto exchanges are underwater. We now have BlockFi reported to have given 3 Hours Capital a $1 billion loan. And BlockFi and hot water, Celsius, super hot water. So it's just a mess all around. And this is being reflected in the price action currently, all right? Very volatile environment. And on top of all of this, of course, we have the U.S. equity stock market. Earnings are expected to plummet. Supply chain, huge issues. And I made a video on my channel, actually, talking about Bitcoin and inflation. Where was this video? Here we go. What high inflation means for crypto over here. I made this video 3 weeks ago. And there were some people in the comment section saying that, inflation has absolutely nothing to do with Bitcoin dropping. Inflation doesn't have anything to do with that. I strongly disagree. Inflation has a huge impact right now on this chart. All right? It's very hard to say that it doesn't, because inflation has a lot of basically, side effects, if you will, on just the overall financial markets that we're seeing put into play right now. So inflation most certainly has a huge impact on what's going on, especially with interest rates continuing to get raised. So yes, we're crashing today. We had a nice move down. Look at this daily candle. We hit a demand level, and we are in local resistance. Again, we can go to a 15-minute price chart and see this. Right, pretty clear resistance level up here at around $19,250. Very easy to see this. So price will need to go ahead and pop this, make a higher high here, or we will go ahead and head lower to those lower levels that I did outline for you at 18,500 and 18,000, approximately $50 are your lower levels here to look for possible long entries, right? And until this resistance does get popped, I am not really too interested in taking a long right here at the resistance level. So that's your Bitcoin TA. Very interesting to see here. Of course, you can draw this trend line here in the 15-minute chart. And this is a bit of an inverse H and S, head and shoulders, if you will. We'll see if we do get a right shoulder to form here. Look at the selling volume coming into the left shoulder. That's what you want to see. Weaker volume in the head. You want to see this right shoulder with super weak volume. Then you want to see a break of the neckline up. All right, so we'll see if we do get that pop out today, or if we do go ahead and head to these lower Fibonacci levels on the chart. Those are your local support and resistance levels here. Let me go ahead and catch up with the live chat and see what's going on. We have Sam J Kalaf saying hello everyone. Love KDA under $1. Huge buy. Orders under 136. Kadena under $1. I do like as well. It's a very investable project, KDA Kadena, and to see it back underneath $1, I think that most likely it will be a good buy for the next bull run, but that could be years away. All right, so understand the time frame here. Thoughts on Sand? It's basically the leader of the metaverse sector of cryptocurrency. I think he'll get higher returns than other metaverse coins, but Sandbox basically it's like the Bitcoin for gaming coins, right? So it's going to determine the direction of everything else. We'll get into that in the altcoin section of the live stream. KDM saying, hi Connor, how's it going today? It's going very well. Thank you for asking, KDM. Just taking a look at the charts right now. Now let's also take a look at ETH, because ETH is also looking very weak. So ETH went ahead and tested $998. That just means that the $1,000 support level is strong. It is holding at the current moment in time. All right, right here at 1K, and we are bouncing again. And ETH also has went ahead, and it looks like it stopped out a bunch of shorts, right? Most likely shorts were going ahead and moving their stop down as price was decreasing, right? So we had this wick and then a large drop in price down to $998. So most likely a bunch of shorts went ahead and put their stops here. Now price just went ahead and wicked above, probably stopped a bunch of shorts out there on this stop loss hunt. We'll see if this does continue to chop around as well, but ETH kind of a similar situation here. If we zoom out just a bit, right, looking at Ethereum, we can go ahead and pull our fib just the same as Bitcoin, and we can see the levels. And I do like this level over here at around $960, all right? And we do have the 88.6 at 926 as well. Now, ultimately, throughout this bear market, I do see ETH going from around, say, $400 to $600 as its ultimate macro bottom. So I say we still have lower to go here on ETH over the longer term, over the next few months. But again, this market is really due for an upside correction, because it's really been down only since ETH was over here at $3,600. Right, just been very strong sell-offs. We go down, consolidate downwards, and then just sell off again very strongly. And the bounce on ETH from low to high was around 43%. Okay, so that was pretty good. So we'll see if we can go ahead and print a higher low here. Look for a higher low and then a move upwards again for a bit of recovery back into these supply levels. That's ETH. Okay, so don't capitulate, I would say. I would say you should be taking nibbles in. We are much closer to the bottom than you may think, even though it could be months before the Fed does actually go ahead and pivot. Now, speaking about all the macroeconomic news, let's go ahead and start going over that stuff right now, because it is very interesting, it's very juicy, and it does have very direct implications on the prices of your cryptocurrency assets. All your favorite coins and tokens, they are affected by this stuff, so you should absolutely know exactly what is going on with all of it. So let's go ahead and move on. First of all, to our Twitter wisdom, talking about FTX possibly wanted to do a deal with Celsius. However, they are reportedly walking away from a deal with Celsius after seeing the state of its finances. All right, we can go ahead and read. FTX was interested in making a deal with Celsius, but walked away because of the state of its finances. Two sources told the block. Celsius had a $2 billion hole in its balance sheet, one source said. All right, so this is very bad news. And, I feel for everybody who still has money inside of Celsius. It does not look good, all right? Just a horrible situation all around. A $2 billion hole in their balance sheet. So it does appear that Celsius is most likely too far gone to save, okay? So really horrible news for anybody who still had funds in here. Luckily I saw the silver lining on the wall ahead of time before they stopped withdrawals. And, I was able to warn a vast majority of the crypto empire community to get all of your money out before they pause withdrawals. But, of course, some people didn't act in time. Some people failed to take action, didn't see my messages and my warnings for days beforehand. And, lessons learned. With Luna, right, I lost a lot of money with that. Like a lot. And I learned from my mistake then, because with Luna, I saw the red flags, okay, but I chose not to act. Here with Celsius, looking at the price of Cell token at 60 cents, with Celsius, a week beforehand, I saw they were in hot water. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go ahead and not act again. All right, so this is why we learn from our mistakes always. Everybody's going to make mistakes, even at the highest levels. You're going to make mistakes, but you need to always learn from them and keep moving forward. All right, so acted on Celsius, saved a ton of capital from just basically going out of my control here, and as well as a lot of members' capital or community members here at Crypto Empire. But just an overall horrible situation all around. Now, also with BlockFi, your money isn't safe in BlockFi either. BlockFi is really in a similar situation, although maybe not as bad, but you should not have any money in any of these centralized platforms. We can go ahead and read this tweet. That according to the leaked info, BlockFi loaned $1 billion to 3 Arrows Capital against $1.3 billion of collateral. The collateral was $860 million in Bitcoin and $440 million worth of Grayscale Bitcoin. All of the Bitcoin was seized and liquidated. Okay? So BlockFi went ahead and gave 3 Arrows Capital $1 billion, and in return they were holding on the $1.3 billion of collateral. All of the collateral was liquidated. They sold it at market price, further accelerating more sell-offs. And basically BlockFi wants to, or a lot of entities want to buy out BlockFi, possibly, Alameda Research, etc. And BlockFi in hot water as well, just as Celsius. All these crypto lending platforms, they are blowing up. They are going insolvent, and not your keys, not your crypto. So you need to have your crypto in your own private custody, all right? And this is definitely having an effect on the prices of Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin drops, your altcoins do drop as well, all right? Now moving on. Talking about some news about 3 Arrows Capital coming out yesterday. Today is June 30th. This tweet was put out last night on June 29th at 7:30 p.m. Speaking about the liquidation of crypto hedge fund 3 Arrows Capital has been ordered in a court in the British Virgin Islands. I'm pretty sure this is where their hedge fund was set up. Don't quote me on that though, not 100%. A lot of hedge funds are set up in the Caribbean for tax reasons. So this is like the pretty sure it's not the first, court order for 3 Arrows Capital. So, yeah, they are going under and facing a lot of legal issues as well. So, all of this is having a big effect on the market, and the overall economy is also in shambles, right? We do have, inflation at peak record numbers all around the world, not just in the U.S. And what we are headed into now is what is called a stagflation environment. All right, so let's go over very briefly what a stagflation environment is. So you have a better understanding if you're watching from home and you don't know what it is yet. So stagflation is characterized by slow economic growth and relatively high unemployment, or economic stagnation, which is at the same time accompanied by rising prices, i.e. inflation. Stagflation can be alternatively defined as a period of inflation combined with a decline in the gross domestic product, also known as GDP. All right, so this is important. Relatively high unemployment. This is just starting right now. The relatively high unemployment is not relatively high just yet. It is uptrending, right? Unemployment is going up, but I don't believe that the worst is in yet. I think that a lot of major tech companies were coming out of a environment where interest rates were basically 0% for a very long time. And this allowed for cheap capital. And a lot of this cheap capital went ahead and flowed into the tech sector, which is why we're seeing, the tech sector get obliterated right now. A lot of tech stocks down horribly bad. They look worse than a lot of crypto altcoin charts, actually. And now what's happening that interest rates are rising. All of this free capital that was flowing into tech has completely dried up. A lot of tech companies gave a lot of people jobs, and their jobs were just really not very productive, right? They were just kind of filling a space, not really doing, a lot of value-adding work. And now a lot of these people are going to go ahead and get laid off. So I think the job losses in the tech sector are going to be huge. It's just starting right now. And I think blue-collar work will do very well. If you have a skill or a trade, right, that will always be in demand. But just be aware that we are now entering into a stagflationary environment. And this thread right here puts a lot of things into perspective. So let's go over this right now and what it means for your assets. All right, so the rise and fall of the consumer. Household demand for goods and services is poised to fall off of a cliff. The U.S. economy simply cannot handle the Fed's continued monetary tightening. This is the onset of a vicious stagflationary environment. Here is a thread on it. All right, so the unprecedented combination of excessive debt, speculative asset bubbles, and persistent inflation makes the current economic environment truly precarious. A major contraction in consumer demand is imminent. These factors will soon pressure the Fed into a policy dilemma, right? There's a lot of debate. When will the Fed pivot from increasing rates to tapering them off and starting to decrease them? When will that happen? Most likely it will happen, within the next 6 months, I would say, but we'll see about that. We'll go ahead and continue on right now with the thread. The Fed is facing one of the worst predicaments of its existence as it continues to raise interest rates into an economic downturn. The problem is that sooner rather than later, it will be forced to relent and inject liquidity into an already inflationary environment. They're going to have to turn the money printer back on yet again. So historically speaking, elevated cost of living, surging mortgage rates, and tightening financial conditions are about to trigger a significant contraction in household spending. Note the collapse in consumer sentiment suggests that corporate margins are likely to decline drastically. All right, so corporate margins are going down, right? Everything is way more expensive. Transportation, energy, super expensive. Supply chain is totally backed up. We have never seen an environment like this before, which goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of the stream. You cannot compare this current bear market to any previous cryptocurrency bear market like we saw over here in 2018 or the crash in March of 2020. Really hard to compare them to current day because it's just completely different with so many macroeconomic factors. All right, so while workers are starting to make more money, the growth in salaries is not outpacing inflation. In real terms, wages are declining by almost 4%. Saving rates are also plummeting. They're at the lowest in 14 years, and consumers are now at a breaking point. So the recent decline in equity markets should also drastically impact consumer demand. U.S. stocks have already lost $13 trillion in market cap since the downturn started back in November of 2021. That is already a greater capital loss than during the GFC and COVID recession. The GFC is the Great Financial Crisis, of course, in 2008. In addition to the consumer demand side risks, today's inflation problem is likely to compress margins significantly from record levels. It's a combination of systematic issues, such as a steep rise in cost of capital, structurally rising raw materials prices, as well as wage pressure. And the recent strength of the dollar is also an important factor to consider. History shows that the U.S. currency appreciates relative to its peers. Significant declines in corporate profits do tend to follow. All right, so expecting a lot of corporate layoffs, a lot of dropped earnings for these tech companies, and just an overall all-around mess. This thread goes on forever, so we're going to go ahead and stop it here. But just an overall all-around mess for the economy going forward here in the next few months. So just be aware of everything going on. Don't get trigger happy with crypto. Yes, you should be nibbling. You should be dollar cost averaging. But things will get worse before they do get better here. And if you understand that, you can basically prepare ahead of time and play your cards right and come out of this on the other side on top. Because yes, it seems very bleak, it seems very doom and gloom. However, when we look back on this in maybe 5-10 years, if we're still around, well then basically it will just be another basically economic downturn period in history, and everything will recover again. But we are entering into a new paradigm of money as well. So let's kind of go over that before we do get into some other stuff. So we are entering into a brand new paradigm with money as well, where the system is broken, like we just saw, right? Nothing makes sense right now. Everything doesn't work as intended. Everything is basically broken. They printed way too much money way too quickly. They totally debased the currency. So what happens next? Well, there is something called the ISO 20022. All right? So let's go ahead and read a little bit about this. The ISO 20022 is an open global standard for financial information. It provides consistent, rich, and structured data that can be used for every kind of financial business transaction. We can go ahead and read. Why should you adopt it now for cross-border payments? Starting in November of 2022, which is now just 4 months away, very close, The way the Swift community exchanges payments messages will be transformed with ISO 20022. This will unlock huge opportunities for financial institutions, such as boosting operational efficiency, enhancing customer experience, and enabling innovative new services. A global and open standard, ISO 20022, creates a common language for payments worldwide, and its higher quality data means better payments for all, whether you're adopting ISO 2022 or starting from the start of the migration period or not. To learn more about the mandatory actions, yada, 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 yada. All right, so cross-border payment solutions, the Swift payment network, it's out of style. Its time is coming to an end. Everything is now moving towards the ISO 20022. What does that mean for crypto? Well, there are a few cryptocurrencies that are already approved for the ISO 20022 standard. All right, and these cryptocurrencies, the more prominent ones include XRP, XDC, XLM, IOTA, Algorand. Rumor that HBAR, Cardano, and a few others are, also going to be approved. But these are basically the currencies that the banks are going to adopt for their new payment networks. All right. So that is an opportunity there for an investment. And now I do expect the Fed to pivot, start lowering rates, and they're going to have to turn the money printer back on. Or they're just going to go, we're going to have the worst recession the world has really ever seen. Okay, so I do expect them to turn that printer back on right around the time that the ISO 2022 standard is going to go into action. So it's going to be interesting here. Basically, Stellar Lumens XLM is like the bigger, it's one that corporations and larger entities will use for cross-border payments, and rumored to be XRP will be like the retail bank one, right? And then these other ones as well will all have their use cases, right? Algorand is rumored to be in compliance with CBDCs, Quant as well, right? Quant was the other one, as well as HBAR and ADA. And Quant, of course, as we know, is big with CBDCs, and they're trying to solve those issues. So this most certainly is an opportunity here going forward into Q4 as well as Q1 of 2023. Definitely have to be aware of these banker coins, right? A lot of them are very well known, right? XRP, XLM as well. They've been in the top market cap for quite some time now. Stellar over here, number 25 in market cap with a approximately $7 billion market cap. So understand these things are basically the opposite of Bitcoin and decentralized currency, right? They will be controlled by these central banks, and they will not offer you basically, we don't really know how it's going to work, but we have a very good indication of how it's all going to work. Most likely when the Fed goes ahead and pivots and, they start turning the money printer back on, they want to implement some type of, handout UBI, and it will be in the form of a CBDC, right, at the time of this ISO 20022. So this does look like the way it is going right now. So most likely owning things like XRP, XLM, HBAR, Quant, etc., they will see a rise in price from a lot of market speculators, right? We already know the XRP army, right? If anybody in the XRP army right now is watching, it looks like your day may be coming soon. Maybe not. We'll see. But I do think the market caps of these cryptocurrencies that are compliant with the ISO 20022 will see a nice increase in market cap. Granted that everything else turns around. Because in the macroeconomic environment we're currently in, even the most prominent catalyst to see an increase in price probably won't do anything. But if things turn around, if we have a more favorable bullish macroeconomic environment, and all this stuff happens at once with the ISO 20022, we could see the banker coins have a nice little bit of a run up. All right, so just be aware that could possibly be an upcoming opportunity for your crypto portfolio. So you can you can set up your portfolio adequately to your liking with how you do want to do that. But it's important to be aware of that situation unfolding. Now, as well, some other news before we get into our altcoin TA. The Grayscale entity is suing the SEC after the spot ETF was rejected yet again. All right, the SEC blocked Grayscale's latest application, saying it did not do enough to prevent possible fraud. So this is ongoing, and now Grayscale has officially filed a lawsuit against the SEC. A spot ETF has been trying to get passed for months, but the SEC is having absolutely no part in it. So this is interesting to see here. And this could have further accelerated the sell-off we did experience just earlier today. But yes, very interesting here to see that Grayscale has went ahead and denied another ETF request. And I do want to see here, see if this was actually real. With our guy Barry Silbert. All right, that must have been a apparently Gary Gensler, who is the guy who runs the SEC nowadays, tweeted at Barry Silbert about this, but that must have been some kind of troll that I saw. Anyway, yeah, so SEC not having a Bitcoin ETF, and really why, we don't know, right? They don't want easy access for investors to be able to buy spot Bitcoin with an ETF. So really that should get approved, but we're just seeing it consistently rejected here. And as you can see, Bitcoin went ahead and got rejected from our resistance level again, right? So like I was saying, this is your local resistance, continuing to hold at the moment in time, right? So you could have done a little bit of a scalp short if you're eager, but I'm staying away from that right now. All right, so for the most part, that does go over everything. So while we do have the ISO 20022, understand there is alternatives to that. There is completely decentralized blockchain networks being built that will allow for interoperability, right? That's a big thing that Quant says, oh, interoperability. Guess what? There's decentralized currencies that aren't owned by the central banks that do offer that interoperability. And one of them is, of course, Cosmos Atom. So now Levana Protocol did choose to migrate over to the Cosmos Internet of Blockchains. So we can go ahead and read this thread on why Levana did choose Cosmos, all right? So let's go over this very quickly and what it means for Cosmos, because, listen, Cosmos, it's a very, very strong ecosystem going forward, and I think it has a ton of potential over the next decade or so. So 2 years ago, I started building on Cosmos. This is Jonathan speaking. Many of my colleagues in the Web3 space did not understand why anyone would build outside the world of Ethereum. At the time, a very unpopular move. Today, it is less so. So you should already know how Cosmos works, right? Cosmos is actually shaped like the internet we already know. This is a picture of the nodes of the internet you are using to read this message, all right? So an interconnected web of networks. So the idea that everyone will use one massive blockchain, be it Solana or Ethereum, with fast, large blocks reminds me of when my dad told me he thought everyone in the world would use AOL someday. When you build on someone else, you always pay rent to them, which is okay. You are paying for security, but in many cases, you were paying to the wrong people. Yesterday, users of OpenSea spent $600,000 on fees, but none of that made OpenSea a better product, right? It all goes to the Ethereum miners. When you build on someone else, you're always limited to only the customizations and features that they allow or currently have available. This was a major pain point in the DYDX sequence saga, right? DYDX recently chose Cosmos to build their own blockchain on. They'll run their decentralized exchange on. Levana also going to be a decentralized exchange. Don't forget that. It's not only Dragon NFTs. The future of Ethereum is ZK rollups, but it will take a long time to get there, and there will be many players offering these solutions. As the tech matures, questions around licensing and public goods will become more critical. ZK rollups will offer more abilities to customize core infrastructure versus building directly in someone else's layer 1, but will never be able to compete with the flexibility of owning your own blockchain. This is what Cosmos allows you to do. You can build your own sovereign layer 1 blockchain. You can customize it exactly to your project protocol's needs. You cannot do that on Ethereum. You cannot do that on an Ethereum layer 2. All right, so the customizability of Cosmos and what it allows you to build is really a total game changer. So I think we'll see a lot more projects start to choose Cosmos over the more popular Ethereum, Solana, etc., etc., etc. All right, so this is something to look forward to. It will be natural for projects that are successful to migrate to their own chain once they get big enough, like I just said. DYDX was the first, and it will not be the last. Now, the elephant in the room will always be regulation. We were just talking about regulation here with the ISO 20022. Regulation can change much more quickly than the layer 1 you were building on, and if you need to adjust, it can be crippling to be confined to the framework your layer 1 does provide. Growing pains take on all shapes and sizes. Amazon made their own server when they ballooned. It's inevitable that successful apps will want their own tech stack. All right, talking about Facebook. So building on your own chain enables more flexible rewards. The ability to incentivize new projects to come and build on your protocol is greater than you running your own chain. Right? Osmosis is a good example of that. So basically, Levana choosing, this thread goes on forever as well, but Levana choosing Cosmos for a plethora of reasons, and a lot of stuff to look forward to here coming out of Levana, as well as a lot of other projects that are choosing Cosmos to build. So big fan of the Cosmos ecosystem. It's either going to be one of the best bets you can make right now in crypto, or it will go horribly wrong. I would say the probability that it succeeds, pure speculation here, not financial advice, but the probability that the Cosmos ecosystem and the Cosmos chain as a whole succeeds is relatively high, right? Because they're actually building real value. They're building something that actually works, that people want to use, that developers want to build on, right? Adoption is everything. So just as all these cryptos with the IS0022 are going to be getting adopted, because that's the only way you're going to get your monthly check from, the central bank. If you don't, you got to use this stuff, right? If you want to go that route, your other option is decentralized alternatives like Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think when this gets implemented, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to start to uptrend heavily again when people realize the options at the table. Right, really comes down to the red pill or the blue pill. You can stay trapped with the blue pill, or you can free yourself with things like decentralized currencies like Bitcoin, Monero, stuff on Cosmos, etc., etc. All right, so a lot of interesting stuff to be looking forward to here in the next few months. I would say within 6 months' time, we're going to know where this is headed. We're going to have a lot more indication. Like I said, in November, the ISO 2022 will be started to get implemented. So most likely a few more months of this brutal bear market price action. So that's your macro analysis here for the rest of the year, basically. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some charts, go over the price action, and see if we can spot any trading opportunities in the market so that we can go ahead and capitalize on them. Now, personally, I haven't really been trading this current market, right? When I'm unsure, when I'm not confident, when I don't have an edge, what do? I don't trade. It's that simple. That's how you protect yourself from making stupid decisions as a trader. When your edge isn't present, when you don't like what you're seeing on the charts, not taking a position is in fact taking a position, right? It's taking a stance on the market. And if you're preserving your capital, waiting for better conditions, that's perfectly viable, perfectly fine. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. So to start things off, let's take a look at some of the coins we routinely look at over here. One including CRO. Let's take a look at CRO on our Bybit chart. So CRO clearly broke this trend line, right? Got up to 12, 13 cents, got rejected very hard from there, all the way back down to 11 cents here, okay? And if we look at this retracement from your swing high down to your swing low, right here around the golden pocket didn't hold, so it's not perfect. It's pretty ugly. The crash today, when we see these large accelerated market crashes like we're seeing, right, when price just doesn't stop, just collapses, basically call it a waterfall down. When you see this, your support levels, your demand zones do tend to go out the window. Your levels are not reliable when you're going against the trend in a steep knee-jerk reaction sell-off type of environment. So a lot of your support levels, they'll just get completely blown through with price action not respecting them at all. All right, but now with CRO, looking at this chart, this is a 4-hour. If we go to the daily, after these very strong steep sell-offs, you do start to look for a bounce, right? After all of this red, you do expect some green. Now, clearly a very strong daily level down here on CRO at 10.6, 10.7 cents. This is where you want to be looking at around 10.6, 10.7 on CRO. But brutal sell-off here. And a lot of alts do look the same. CRV, same song and dance over here, right? We had our bull flag just get dropped to the downside. And now looking at where we're at, again, same thing, blew through the golden pocket, just blew through it, no respect for it. It does look like there is a demand zone down here though with these wicks. All right, so we'll go ahead and mark that and then drop it down to a shorter term time frame. And we can see that, yeah, this is a pretty clear level on the lower time frame that is being respected on CRV at the current moment in time. Okay, so we'll see if this does end up holding. Could go deeper into this, and if my hypothesis plays out on Bitcoin where we go to 18.5, maybe even as low as 18 and then reverse lower, we could see altcoins do the same where they dip lower before starting to have a little bit of a move up. Polkadot, really same exact thing here, right? Polkadot continuing its decline down after yesterday's stream that we covered it. We still have this bit of a descending, broadening channel formation here. Price continuing to respect the bottom trend line and went ahead and pierced below my demand level, right, with that sell-off earlier this morning. While over here in the US we were asleep, the Asia session. If you guys notice, right, the Asia session has been when the sell-offs have been occurring. If you're in the US like myself, when you wake up, that's when you see a sea of red. Right, it's happening overnight. These are the Asian market trading sessions, not really happening in the New York sessions. So when you're backtesting your strategies, when you're backtesting your trading strategies, if you don't trade in the Asian market session, if you're a day trader, you shouldn't be backtesting during the Asian session hours. You should be doing it during the hours that you trade, because you're not going to be trading during those hours where you're asleep, obviously. So all of this stuff comes into play when you are a trader. When it comes to your edge as a trader, everything really works, right? All edges tend to work. It all comes down to how you go about actually trading that edge. If you have the impulse control to actually just stick to your trading plan. But backtesting your strategies, if you're backtesting your strategies in the Asian market session and you're asleep and you're not going to trade during those times, that's not very viable data. All right, so understand this when you're putting together your trading strategy. All this comes into play here. But DOT also in our lower spectrum of the chart here, still a higher low, right? We haven't broken any lows just yet. Continuing to respect this trend line, getting wicked through it, but no candle bodies closed below it just yet. All right, so continuing to respect our uptrend here on DOT. And we'll see how this one does develop. Really totally up to Bitcoin and ETH or really just Bitcoin to pick its direction. Let's go ahead and catch up with the live chat. We have Dave saying, hanging with Kenny and D on Block Island, we all say hi. Interesting, Dave. Glad you're enjoying that. Hanging on the dock, or hanging on Block Island. Interesting. Thanks for your support. We have Fazil saying, hello, sir. Big fan. Big shout out to Fazil. Thank you for your support, my friend. Randy saying he took a hit on Luna. GT Nuts. How we move all 65 assets off exchanges? Do I buy BTC ATM direct to my wallet? Well, you can buy Bitcoin from an ATM if you do want to do that. And how you move your assets off of exchanges, you need to withdraw every single one individually. Bitcoin cryptocurrency market news and info. Bitcoin hasn't crashed. A real crash will it drops another 40% or more from here. If anything, Bitcoin is just moving towards its fair value. Okay, that's one way to put it. You can also call it a crash. I would call it a crash, right? If you look at the chart, unless you're looking on the 1 hour time frame, but if you look at any higher term time frame chart, I would call this a crash. But interesting point there. Hello, saying, what's good, man? Are prices going up or down? Let me go ahead and ask the magic conch shell. Just kidding, right? I don't have that crystal ball to tell you that, but I do think we are due now. We could go very lower here, or slightly lower, I should say, in the very short term, but I do think we are due for a corrective move to the upside. GMAD, top 5 coins to DCA. No obvious coins. Interesting question there. This looks like EVA and Atom pattern in Bitcoin. We got Ross saying hi from New Zealand. Freezing cold here this morning in New Zealand. Freezing his nuts off. Well, Ross, good thing you got your cup of coffee and your Crypto Empire live stream going to keep you warm over there in snowy, freezing cold New Zealand. Manos, I have no idea what the EVA and Atom pattern is in Bitcoin right now. I can't answer your question, all right? I don't know what the EVA and Atom pattern is. And Magnus saying thumbs up, and John Potter saying suit looks good. Thank you, John Potter. Appreciate that. Custom tailored suit, of course, with my wingspan and sizes of my measurements. I do need to do totally custom tailored suits because nothing normally does actually fit me. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the compliment. Glad to hear that the suit's looking good. GT Nuts saying, safe to put all assets in one wallet, like Coinbase? No, absolutely not. Your assets are not safe in Coinbase. I actually saw a tweet today that Coinbase was selling their users' data, that's you and I, to some government body. Right? Coinbase, not the safest place at all to keep your crypto. I recommend getting off of Coinbase immediately if you have any money in there. The safest place is going to be your own wallet, whether that's Exodus, Atomic Wallet on your phone, Trust Wallet, or you can go and buy a hardware wallet like a Ledger or Trezor, and you can use my links in the description down below for those, and I would appreciate your support here on the channel if you want. Dalton saying, I think he meant Adam and Eve. I was going to ask the same. I think he meant that too, but I still don't know what the Adam and Eve pattern is, Dalton. With that being said, go look at Cardano. GHX7. How do you know when a demand/supply zone will be relevant in the future? So a lot goes into that, but basically if you're only trading supply and demand, especially in the shorter term time frames, you want to look for your fresh demand zones that haven't been tested yet. Do a brief explanation right now on Cardano. We'll see if we can find an example. I mean, this price action has been pretty nuts as of late. So here's an example here on Cardano, right? We're looking at the 1 hour chart, and this is an example of a supply zone playing out. Okay, so we know we have resistance up here at 50 cents. Okay, it's pretty obvious. So you can call this a supply zone forming in resistance. Not the best example, but the first one my eyes go to, all right? So we have a rally-based drop. So what you would do is you would go ahead and mark that, okay? And there's a lot that goes into this. This like barely scratches the surface. Go watch my supply demand zone videos for more about this. But you would go ahead and mark this on your chart, okay? And then this is a fresh zone, okay? Because price has not tested it yet. We had a large move away from the supply level. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see price just meander away, okay? We want to see a strong drop. We don't want to see a lot of sideways consolidation before a drop. We want to see a strong move away. That's a good indication of a strong supply zone. And it's also fresh because after price went ahead and dropped, it hadn't been tested again, right? You don't see any wicks or candle bodies going in here, okay? And now what happens is when price goes, finds a bottom, and makes its way back up, you know you have a fresh supply level here. And when you're trading on the short time frames, you want to use your fresh levels, right? They have more validity. So you look to short in the fresh supply level. That's exactly what you get over here, okay? You get some wicks in. First wick just touches the proximal line. Second one goes in deeper, right? And then you have a third tap, and then you get your drop down. And you're on the 1 hour chart, so you're not looking for a big move, right? So then you would go ahead and you would exit down here. And what do you have down here? Now that my eyes go to it, you have a fresh demand zone. Okay, really all of this rally-based rally over here. So when you're playing the short term, 1 hour chart, supply demand does work very well. As you can see, right? So you would go ahead and mark this, and price again explodes out. You see that strong move away, good indication. That's an odds enhancer, simply when you see the strong move away from a level that just formed, that just printed. Okay, so price goes and tests supply up here, comes back down, and where does it go? To a fresh demand level that just printed. Okay, not a used one, a fresh one, because after price left, it never got tested again. But on the test, it's fresh, and you see the strong move up. That's your basic summary on supply and demand trading right there for the local kind of shorter term time frames. Now, this would have taken, if we just look, by the time this zone was formed to when it got retested again, it was 3 days. Okay, and then another 4 days. It was 4 days total until you got the actual drop. So it's going to take a while for you to sit in the trade. And then for this demand zone, by the time it got tested again, it was a day and a half, over a day and a half. So understand your time horizons for your trading. It all depends on your time frame. We're looking at a 1 hour chart, right? Trading off of a 1 hour chart. So you need to base your analysis off of the 1 hour for everything. But that is your basic gist of how supply and demand trading works there. Hope that answers your question. Should give you some more indication. Bob Franklin saying that Coinbase is sus. Yes, indeed it is. MMC John, that we got another Scam Pump Sunday coming. Can't forget about those Scam Pump Sundays. Absolutely not. Samir saying, hi, bro. Thanks for the stream. No problem. GT Nut saying, I buy with your code. Meantime, why Trust Wallet more safe than Coinbase? Because Trust Wallet is held to your own device, okay? And it's only stored on your device. It's your wallet to your device. Coinbase is held on the Coinbase servers, on the Coinbase wallets, and you just have basically an interface where you see your deposits in the exchange or your buys, but it's not actually your wallet. Okay, so it's different. Trust Wallet, you own that crypto inside of the Trust Wallet. Coinbase, technically not in full custody, all right? Dre laying it down. Yes, you own the seed phrase, exactly. Reverend Flashback saying, hi, Connor. What's up, Reverend Flashback? How are you? GT Nuts, no, you do not own your keys when you have your crypto in Coinbase. GHX7, no problem for that example on Cardano with your supply and demand. Now let's look at more recently what's going on down here. So we went ahead and swept the lows. Barely swept the lows on ADA. As you can see. Just barely swept these wick lows here. Now we're seeing a bit of a strong move up. Looks like it could be a 10% move here. What do we have? No, just 3%. I'm on the 1 hour chart. All right, so we have a 3% move to the upside so far. And yeah, we're waiting for Bitcoin. Like I said, we are expecting, or at least I'm expecting, possibly another flush down on BTC. Looking at this price action again, rejected from resistance over here at 19,280, 19,300. This is your strong resistance level on the chart, all right? If you would have shorted here on a little scalp, I mean, it's barely, probably 0.5%. Okay, so 1% here. So not a lot of things happening more recently on the Bitcoin price chart, and we are waiting. But Cardano, again, could go ahead and come back, test this support, possibly even get into this wick. Remember the saying that wicks do like to get filled. All right, so don't be surprised if we see a deeper move into this candle wick on Cardano before the start of a recovery rally. But ultimately, my stance right now is I am expecting price to have some kind of recovery after these brutal sell-offs. It's really been down only. Either, going into this weekend or early next week, I would expect more green candles on the chart and for a market to recover. And looking at Cardano, your main levels overhead now, right, are going to be over here at 47.5, and then the big levels over here at 50 cents and 52 cents as well on ADA. So we could see a rally back up to these price levels on Cardano. Samir saying, is Moonbeam good for the next bull run? I do think it will perform well. I think Polkadot, the ecosystem, just like Cosmos Atom, going to have a nice run when people understand that interoperability actually works. And you don't need to use centralized banker coins for interoperability. I think Cosmos and Polkadot and all the layer 1 blockchains built on top of them will do very well, and Moonbeam Glimmer is certainly one of them. All right, so Moonbeam, I have it going as low as possibly 35 cents, so it could certainly go lower from here. But if things do return to where they were, you can see the all-time high of Moonbeam is 1950. Even if it just goes to $10, you're looking at a 15 or so X from current prices. And by the way, guys, we have 60 viewers and only 35 likes. Go ahead right now, if you're just tuning in, be sure to smash that like button down below. Also notice we've been going for 1 hour and 4 minutes. It is time for me to go ahead and start wrapping up this edition of the Crypto Empire live stream. So I hope that you enjoyed the stream. We covered a lot, right? What to expect over the coming 3 to 6, maybe 9 months going forward for crypto with the ISO 20022 standard, what it means for, the specific coins that are approved for this. Could see a bit of a banker coin bull run, but also the decentralized alternatives to this cross-border payment system. Obviously, there's Bitcoin, right? It was created for the exact purpose of what these coins are doing, right? Cross-border payments. But only Bitcoin allows you to fully own and have unconfiscatable money, which is why I prefer it over things like XRP and XLM. And what it means for the other interoperability blockchains like Polkadot and Cosmos, why projects are picking Cosmos over Ethereum. And that trend is only expected to grow going forward here. So watch what the builders, what the developers are doing in the industry. Look at the projects they are choosing. Look at what's actually adding value to the space. Shiba Inu and Dogecoin and Floki Inu and all this other garbage doesn't really add too much value to the space. They get very hyped up in a bull market, but these are the ones that are actually building infrastructure, like the plumbing of the blockchain. All right, you want to invest in the infrastructure, and the good infrastructure plays are laid out. Number 29 and 30 do look pretty good here on the coin market cap. But with that being said, it is time for me to go ahead and start wrapping up this live stream. I hope that you did enjoy the stream. If you haven't already, be sure to smash that like button down below. If you are trading crypto, right, and you don't have an exchange yet, I recommend you check out Bitget. You get a ton of bonuses, discounted fees if you do use my link. All right, so check out that link. It is the second link down in the description below. Also, be sure to check out cryptoempire.co.io. You can head on over to the free resources section. And if you're brand new to crypto, this will totally blow your mind with the amount of knowledge and value with these free resources. You have a 2 full-hour beginner trading course, as well as a jam-packed ebook full of extremely relevant information. Then from there, as you start to learn and make some money, go ahead and invest that back into yourself by joining the Discord, and then eventually getting yourself the elite trading course, which will take you from a novice to a pro when it does come to trading. So it's time for me to go now. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Hit that like button if you have not already hit that like button. Have an amazing rest of your Thursday. I think it's Thursday today. Indeed, it is Thursday. Have an amazing rest of your Thursday. I'll see you all very soon. Connor from Crypto Empire signing out. Let the gains be with you.